Hello there, hello there, hello there, and welcome one and all. How are you all? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Now, today we're going to be taking a look at a party political broadcast. Now, don't switch off, okay? I know that sounds really boring, but this one is mental as fuck, okay? It's from a British political party. Well, I say political party, essentially a sort of neo-Nazi group of fucking thugs and idiots called Britain First. Now, when they call themselves Britain First, they mean essentially white people first and white Christians first as well. They're quite a religious group in a number of ways. And I mean, I really don't know. I can't stress this enough, right? They are scum. I don't use that word lightly. I don't like using that word particularly, but there's really no other word in the English language that quite sums them up as delightfully and accurately as that. So we're going to be taking a look at their party political broadcast for the London mayoral elections that are upcoming in a few months or next month. I don't exactly know the exact date for it. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I'm going to do a screen sharey type thing, and hopefully I've worked out how to get the fucking sound on. Are we presenting to everyone? Present to everyone. Yes, let's do that. Right, let's go. Now, bear in mind, right, what's coming up. You're about to see a shot of what's called the cenotaph. Now, the cenotaph, for those outside of Britain, I'll just explain briefly because I know a lot of my viewers are American, right? The cenotaph is a public memorial right in the heart of London. Like, it's right by Downing Street where the Prime Minister lives, and it's right by the British Parliament. It's the heart of British remembrance of military servicemen and women and everyone who's ever fought in the defense of the nation, right? It's like in terms of like national pride, it's fucking the absolute core of the nation, right? And the man you're about to see is Paul Golding, who is the leader of Britain First, and he's going to make some claims about British pride and so on and so forth, right? But it must be remembered that on Remembrance Sunday, which is again is the day equivalent of the cenotaph, where at the cenotaph, all British public life essentially comes to a standstill, and we remember those who fought and died for the nation, right? Or those who have fought in defence of the nation. And so it's like the holiest in terms of national pride, like it's the holiest day at the holiest site. And Paul Golding apparently turned up at one Remembrance Day drunk at the cenotaph, wearing women's pants on his head. So just to put that into context, right? He's turned up supposedly as like this, oh, I'm for national pride and all that sort of stuff. Turned up and behaved like a prick, basically shitting on the entire nation and everyone who's ever fought to defend it. So just for a bit of context there, right? Let's kick this shit off and see what he has to say, shall we?
This broadcast is different from the others. I am not like other politicians.
No, Paul, you don't even pretend not to be a proper cunt. You're much more open about it. I will give you that.
I grew up on a London council estate, and I have seen my city transformed by mass immigration and political correctness.
We'll get onto immigration in a bit. But yeah, political correctness is terrible, isn't it, Paul? I mean, you can't even go around being a neo-Nazi thug like you used to. Well, I say used to, but you basically still are. But he was a member of the National Front, which was a genuinely neo-Nazi group. And I'm not saying that to smear them. They are genuinely a neo-Nazi group. So yeah, you can't even go around attacking ethnic minorities without the political correct brigade coming after you.
British people are treated like second-class citizens in their own city. I want to see British people...
What are you talking about, you mentalist? Second-class citizens? What are you talking about?
Put first for a change. That memorial behind me symbolises the millions of war heroes who fought and died to keep this country British. In just 50 years, those millions have been betrayed. Mass immigration has transformed our city. We wonder if our war heroes would recognise London today. Immigration has gone too far, and it is time we close the door and put our own people...
You notice how when they're having to go immigration, it's only ever Muslims. It's very strange, that isn't it? It's almost as if immigration isn't really the problem; it's Muslims. This is what we mean when people say, "Oh, you can't be racist against Muslims because Islam is a religion, not a race." Well, technically, that is of course true. But when you only ever have a go at Muslims in terms of immigration, you start to treat them as if they are a race. Because I don't see that Britain First or many other of these similarly extreme right wing groups tend to want to have a go at immigration from largely white nations. I don't see that they have a massive problem with, say, Australians coming into the country. And by the way, neither do I. But I don't have a massive problem with Muslims coming in either, as long as they're all good. What's the problem? You have a go at individuals rather than the the Islamic community or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Anyway.
First. This election is our last chance to vote a patriotic candidate to the London Assembly.
Have you noticed that every single fucking election they say that? This is the last chance you'll ever get in, to elect a properly patriotic. Oh, fuck off.
Jada Franson is our lead candidate in the Assembly election.
This woman is quite incredible. She really is. I mean, for a start, when she stands in front of Parliament like that, it seems to me like, when stupid people stand in front of like a shelf full of books behind them to make themselves seem like they're really intelligent or whatever. This is what she's doing here. It seems like, I'm in front of Parliament. I am politic. Like she's trying to appear to be a serious politician. Brilliant. And by the way, it turns out that under her party's own immigration policy, she would be granted what they describe as generous financial assistance to fuck off back to where her family are from, which in this case would be the Netherlands. Because it turns out that her paternal grandparents are from the Netherlands. Yes, and it and it would appear that they're also they would have been probably Jewish, which I don't have a particular problem with. But considering so many of their members, the Britain First members, are neo-Nazi scumbags, I think they probably would have a problem with it. But there's nothing like a hypocrite, is there? Hey, Jada.
First is not asking for anything unusual. We simply want to put our people first in our own capital city. We want to see British people put to the front of the housing queue. There is no justification for housing immigrants before our own people. It's almost impossible.
Good God, could you have found a more stupid looking and sounding person as like a spokesperson, or not over a spokesperson, like a talking head?
To get social housing for young people like me who are British, British people should come first. That's why I'm voting Britain First. Doesn't it make sense that jobs in our capital city are offered to British workers?
I want to see British jobs for British workers.
Silly mate. Silly mate. Of course you could find someone looking and sounding more stupid. I mean, look at this dude. What? His head looks like one of those heads on Easter Island. The fuck? What a weird looking creature. And an idiot, clearly.
That's why I'm voting Britain First.
If elected to the London Assembly, our representatives will fight tooth and nail to get Britain out of the corrupt EU.
They've also said, by the way, that they would execute pro-EU people. It might have been hyperbole, but they fucking said it.
The BBC and ITV would not allow Britain First to show you any footage of our activists confronting hate preachers and Islamic terrorists.
They also described them as Soviet commissars. The BBC. That's the kind of people we're dealing with here.
So we've come here to Woolwich, the spot where Lee Rigby was butchered, and they still have not put a memorial on this spot to that poor young man.
I should explain for people who don't know. Lee Rigby was a British soldier killed by two terrorist fucking scumbags. Now, it's quite interesting that the Rigby family have asked not just Britain First, but all political parties not to mention his name. And Britain First seem absolutely fine with shitting all over the wishes of the family. I'll read you a quote here, and I've linked the article below. The Rigby family statement said, so this is from the family of the guy that they're politically using the death of, murder of, for their own political gain, right? It says, the Rigby family statement said, "We understand that Britain First are planning to refer to Lee's death in a party political broadcast to be broadcast tonight on the BBC and ITV, and that they filmed close to where he died. The family have always said that Britain First's views are not what Lee believed in, and they have absolutely no support from his family. We have repeatedly asked Britain First and other political parties not to use Lee's name to promote their views. Britain First also claimed that there is no permanent memorial to Lee at the site of his death. There is a permanent memorial to Lee at St George's Chapel in Woolwich, which is what we wanted." So yeah, it would appear that they're talking shit. And not just are they full of shit, but they're happy to spray that shit all over the family and the memory of Lee Rigby. Because the thing is, if you have a public memorial for anything, it can be attacked by people who wish to do it ill. And that would just stoke fire in terms of racial or religious division. Whereas if you have it in a church, you can sort of monitor it, and it's a place where people can congregate properly and safely and all the rest of it, right? And just to use the death of a soldier like this for political gain is just disgusting. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself, Britain First.
Now, right after this happened several years ago, on this spot, our activists waged a campaign to shut down and suffocate the activities of Islamic extremists in London. Our campaign against Islamic extremists forced the police to clamp down on their activities.
You are irrelevant to any of that. Don't think for a second that Britain First have had any influence on that. You have been nothing but a hindrance to any action.
Many of the hate preachers that we confronted are now in prison on terrorism charges.
You are fucking hate preachers. What are you talking about?
I'm really concerned over fast-growing terrorism in Britain, and I really support Britain First because...
Well, that's interesting, because your accent suggests that they don't support you. Just saying, you're being used. Idiot.
This is the only party which is confronting Islamic extremists and hate preachers.
Really? Seriously? The fuck?
Britain has so much to be proud of, and it is only right that we celebrate our achievements as a nation by promoting British history, culture, and Christianity in the school.
Whoa, why Christianity? Why is that a fucking issue? Why, seriously, why are you trying to impose some sort of theocracy on us? Fuck you.
Of our capital city, we have all seen the hordes of migrants flooding into
brown people!
Our country, and Britain First will take tough, decisive action to protect our borders and stop this.
It really is. Brown and black people, be scared of them, is the basic message of Britain First. But they're not racist, apparently. Apparently, they're definitely not racist.
Invasion.
I'm voting Britain First. It's time we put the British people before migrants and take our country back.
It is a national scandal.
Take our country back. Yeah, take it back from modernity and prosperity, I dare say. It's ridiculous. These people are so fucking stupid and hateful. That's arguably the problem. Stupidity can't be helped. Hate can.
But an estimated 3,000 ex-servicemen and women are sleeping rough on the streets of London. Britain First will move heaven and earth to ensure that these heroes are given homes for life.
Well, that is a point. I mean, I'm not going to even argue with that. I think the way in which the major political parties have dealt with ex-servicemen in terms of allowing so many of them to be homeless is a fucking disgrace. Not just on a basic level of humanity, of course, but because it feeds into hateful pricks like Britain First, because it gives them something to rally around. So just on every level, it's an absolute fucking national disgrace. But Britain First aren't helping that, and aren't going to help that. But you know, the point stands.
These corrupt politicians are constantly cutting spending on the elderly and the disabled, all the while spending billions on foreign aid.
Well, firstly, it's not an either-or situation. We're a rich enough nation to be able to afford both foreign aid and not fucking over poor people and disabled people. But bear in mind, to this young disabled chap, Britain First is full of neo-Nazis who support the eugenicist nonsense of the National Socialist Party, or the National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazis, right? Who would have put you to death at birth, assuming your problem is a matter of birth. But essentially, as soon as you become a not productive member of society, or in some way, as they see it, diluting the gene pool, they would have put you to death. I'd bear that in mind, because I don't vote for people and support people who ideally would like to put me to death. I mean, hey, clearly you have a different opinion of this, but it's not my sort of thing.
That's why I'll be voting for Britain First.
Britain First is the voice of the silent
I am Bridge.
majority, and we are sick to death of greedy politicians treating British people like second-class citizens.
It doesn't I don't know what country they are living in where they think British people get treated as second-class citizens. If you mean white people don't run absolutely everything anymore, then yes, but that's a very, very strange and inaccurate description of what second-class citizen means. We still run 90-odd% of it. So, you know, there's that.
Enough is enough. British people deserve to live without the fear of terrorism.
Well, yes, but I mean, that's not a unique thing to Britain, is it? Way more Muslims get killed by terrorism than British people. Way more.
British people deserve to have their say on mass immigration. British people...
And they do. They live in a fucking democracy.
...deserve to be put first in their own country.
We owe it
And they are.
to our war heroes to fight for a future.
Do you owe it to your war heroes not to besmirch the National Day of Remembrance by turning up fucking drunk with women's undergarments on your fucking head? Is that a thing that we deserve to servicemen? Is it? Service people, whatever. Yeah. Something you ought to bear in mind, Paul.
For British children, doing nothing is not an option. A vote for any of the others is a wasted vote. Things...
Says the guy who's going to be lucky to get his deposit back. Well, he isn't going to get his fucking deposit back, which is what you... Basically, you have to put a deposit, and if you get, is it 5% of the vote back, you get your money back. Basically, to stop joke candidates, which he is.
Will carry on exactly the same way they always have. I'm asking you to help me undo the damage that all the other parties have done to London over the years. If you care about your country, if you care about London, if you want a future for British children, then vote Britain First on the 5th of May.
Oh, God. Oh, God almighty. These people are fucking... Well, let's just watch the last 4 seconds. Right, so that's that. Right. Right, there we go. And I'm back. Yeah, these people are fucking crazy. They don't deserve a single vote. Basically, I'll sum it up by saying, fuck Britain First. Anyway, thank you all for watching, listening, and all the rest of it. Hopefully the screen sharing thing worked. I'm not sure. It was the first time I've tried it. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Pip, pip.